Game week 3 is upon us, and it's time for us to pick out some players that we want to get rid of and some players that we want to bring in, also some players we want to hold. So let's get straight into the video. So as always, I've picked 2 players that I like from each position, and starting up front with Jean-Philippe Mateta, who hasn't had the greatest start to the season, still yet to get off the mark in the Premier League. But certainly for the next 3 games, there's a really tasty run of fixtures. Aston Villa away on paper doesn't seem the greatest, but as we know, Aston Villa are struggling at the moment. I would almost say at both ends of the pitch. They've only conceded 1 goal, but really struggling to score. And I feel Crystal Palace could really heap the pressure onto Villa this weekend. And then going forward, you've got a fantastic home fixture against Sunderland, and also away at a really struggling West Ham side. They also get Liverpool then, but that's at home against a Liverpool defence that's really struggling to keep clean sheets as well. He scored against Liverpool via a penalty in the Community Shield. So even the red fixtures for him don't seem as bad as they do at face value. So I fancy him to get off the mark real soon, on penalties as well, especially with Eze now gone. That also could make him less of an asset, but I think it's time for him to take the mantle, and there's plenty of players who can assist him and provide some great goal scoring opportunities for him. On the flip side of that, we've got Chris Wood. We all know how well he started the season. He's got 2 goals in the opening game. He did blank last week, but he's now got at home to like I said before, a leaky West Ham defence. He has gone up by 0.2, so you will be paying a bit more of a premium for him, but he's just a very consistent asset. And as you look then at the Forest fixtures going forward, if you can turn a blind eye to Arsenal away next weekend, he then goes away to Burnley, his old club, which you'd fancy him against Burnley, especially with that added motivation of it being his former club. And then at home to Sunderland. I think certainly for a run of 4 fixtures, I would take that. And even if you want to bench him and bring in another player off your bench to replace him in that Arsenal fixture, he does seem like a really good asset up top for the next coming weeks. Moving on to midfield, the guy I've kept in there, and understandably so, Semenyo, who's returned in 2 game weeks now. 2 goals against Liverpool and the 1 assist against Wolves at the weekend. He just looks a really solid asset. The main focal point really for Bournemouth. You feel like a lot of their promising attacks will go through him. And then looking at the run of fixtures that Bournemouth also have, they aren't perfect, but they're pretty decent. This Semenyo is somebody you can bring in at the price, again, gone up as well himself, like Chris Wood, by 0.2 to 7.2. But yes, at that price, you can bring him in and you can leave him and you can sit on him for the next 5 weeks easily and play him in every game. Tottenham away doesn't seem perfect, especially against a very good Tottenham defence. But we saw how good he can be on that counter-attack if say Spurs dominate possession, because he did it so well against Liverpool on the opening day. So a real fantastic asset, and I think he should be the number 1 midfielder we look to bring in going forward. Also then my other midfielder is Ismaila Sarr. With this one, it's a case of sort of, again, a lot of the same reasons I've talked about with Mateta in terms of the fixtures, especially with Eze going. Sarr is their main real attacking threat on the wing now. And at 6.5, I feel like he's one of the best value 6.5 midfielders around. Don't get me wrong, I had Reinders last week. He did blank, but he is still a fantastic option as well. But with Sarr, you get the security of minutes, and certainly somebody who's going to be playing more advanced more often, and he plays a bit more of a pivotal role in that team compared to a Reinders, who may be holding at times for Manchester City. Yeah, so another fantastic option as we move on to the defence. And Pedro Porro. Now, with this one, I've gone with Pedro. I've put Pedro Porro in, but I think you can come in at any price point in that Tottenham defence. You've got Pedro Porro at 5.5 million. You have Romero at 5, or you have Van de Ven. If you only have 4.5 million to spend, I'm very happy with Van de Ven as well. Pedro Porro obviously is the one with the main attacking threat. I don't think his attacking threat has warranted his price tag or what we would have expected of him so far. So you might be better off going down the route of a Christian Romero, spend 0.5 less, and maybe target those defensive contribution points. They look a bit more consistent than Pedro Porro's attacking returns at the moment. So I have put Pedro Porro there. If you have the money, it's a solid option. But Christian Romero and Van de Ven I really love as well. And again, going into the Tottenham fixtures, as you see there, some really good fixtures coming up for them. And you could, with a really good defence as well, you can see a lot of clean sheets in those fixtures that are coming up. Then finally, it's a bit Crystal Palace heavy. Now, I don't recommend bringing loads of Crystal Palace players in. There's certainly, if you have that one transfer, certainly with the next 3 fixtures coming up, I really like Palace. Certainly more for their attacking threat. And this defender, Munoz, is obviously somebody, probably the most attacking defender in the Premier League. I did say pre-season that around this time people would start to jump on him as the fixtures start to turn a little bit for them, and they realise that Munoz can start to give them some attacking points as well. And that curve I think is going to start now, so you might as well get ahead and maybe go for Munoz if you don't fancy one of the Tottenham defenders. He's a fantastic asset, as we always know. So that's my transfers in for this week. Let's move on to who I think we should be holding. So a bit of a strange mix in who I think we should hold. Starting off, obviously, in the forward line, Ollie Watkins. We all know Villa have struggled the start of this season, certainly to get goals. Still yet to score in the Premier League. But if they're going to score, it's more than likely it's going to come through this guy. And again, the fixtures aren't too bad for them themselves. Crystal Palace at home, as I talked about. I do fancy Crystal Palace in this fixture, but it's also the sort of ideal fixture with Crystal Palace playing in the European qualifier, I believe on Thursday. It's a fantastic opportunity for Villa to target them and hopefully get off the mark. I've got Watkins in my team. I'm also stuck with Rodgers. I don't like the double up, but it's more than likely I'm going to keep with them this week. And that's why Watkins is one of my main holds. They have to get off the mark sometime, and it's more than likely going to be Ollie Watkins. And with a lot of people very tempted to take him out, that is when FPL can come and bite you and really punish you. So I feel, with Sunderland as well away in the upcoming fixtures, Burnley at home at the end of the run of the 5, mixed in with some decent fixtures, just hold on for him for now, reassess certainly after the international break. And then this one's a bit of a strange one, but Victor Gyökeres, he has got quite a few transfers out as I speak. I haven't got the list exactly in front of me, but on the Premier League website. And I think that's simply because of the fixtures that Arsenal have coming up, with Liverpool away up next. And then as we look in, it's Forest at home, Man City at home, and then Newcastle away. So there's certainly 3 out of the 4 there. Very, very difficult fixtures for Arsenal. But he's off the mark now. And the other way to look at it, he's up against a really leaky Liverpool defence that's conceded at least 2 goals in every Premier League game and Community Shield game so far this season. So I think he's certainly somebody we should be keeping. he's more than capable, and that Arsenal team does look very impressive early on. So they're more than capable at the start of the season. Even with the likes of Saka getting injured, they're now a lot more equipped in the areas to cover him. So you've got Madueke. They've just brought in Eze, who could easily feature this weekend as well. Martinelli. There's enough cover there to give a generous supply still to Gyökeres and supply him with some decent goal-scoring opportunities. And I can see him getting a good couple decent goal-scoring opportunities against Liverpool at Anfield this weekend. So certainly if you own him, I wouldn't just jump off him just because of the fixtures they've got. I think he's more than capable in scoring in any of these games now. So especially playing for a top team as well. It's like when you look at somebody like Salah, we don't rush just because Liverpool may have a difficult run of fixtures, or Haaland has a difficult run of fixtures at City. We don't really rush to get rid of these because they're top teams and they can play well against anybody. That's exactly how I feel with Victor Gyökeres. Then a different one in the midfield I've got with Harvey Barnes. Those of you who do have somebody like Harvey Barnes, I really like him now. It's disappointing that he hasn't managed to return in the opening 2 games of the season, even despite some really good minutes as well. That's obviously helped with the whole Isak situation, having to play Anthony Gordon up front. But that's why I really like this guy, because Anthony Gordon got the red card and a 3-match ban against Liverpool. So that only increases Harvey Barnes' minutes. He will be pretty much nailed on that left wing now. And they've got 2 fantastic fixtures. They've got away at Leeds this weekend, and then they're at home to Wolves. 2 defences that can really be targeted, I think, by this Newcastle team. And they've shown what they can do, even with 10 men against Liverpool. So his numbers are pretty impressive as well when you look at them. It's a good expected assist per 90. The goals could be better. And I think they will be better against the weaker teams. It will only knock that average up. So Harvey Barnes, if you do have him, he's somebody I would really look to keep going into the next few game weeks. Then I also have Bruno Fernandes. Now this one, I think a lot of people were very frustrated at the weekend when he missed his penalty. But it's a beautiful, beautiful fixture to try and recover from that in Burnley at home. Yes, he's not playing that advanced role that you may like now with Cunha and Burmo there. And even Mason Mount sometimes a lot more further forward than Fernandes. But I still feel he'll be on penalties. He's got still a very good expected goals and assists ratio. And he can contribute with those DEFCON points. And then against Burnley, I think there's a haul in waiting for him there. So I wouldn't just panic, especially after Man United's start, and get rid of him now. There may be a jumping off point when you look at the Manchester United fixtures. There is Man City away after that. There is Chelsea at home. If things don't go too well in the next couple of weeks, then you can look to jump off him. But I wouldn't be looking to get rid of Fernandes when he's about to play Burnley at home. In the defence then, we've got Gabriel up first. Now, he's the highest Arsenal defender to be transferred out, and I'm trying to figure out why. I think because people have got their head turned by Calafiori, Timber, and looking at the points they got over the weekend, and even the last 2 weekends in the terms of Calafiori, 2 back-to-back 13-pointers and a 24-point haul from Timber. And then Gabriel and Saliba are there just ticking along with their 6 points. But there's a reason why you go for these assets at the start of the season rather than those fullbacks, is because their minutes are guaranteed. You never know when Ben White or Lewis Skelly's going to come into those fullback positions. So, then moving on to the fixtures, and it's sort of similar to what I said with Gyökeres. It's difficult fixtures. It's certainly in the next 4 for Arsenal. But that defence can keep a clean sheet against anybody. I don't necessarily expect one against Liverpool. But I don't think it's the end of the world if you have to play him. He's such an attacking threat. The numbers don't show it yet, but we know what Gabriel can do from these corners. It's been lucky maybe that it's fallen to timber in the last game. But I think chances will come for Gabriel. And he's certainly one to keep, even through the tough fixtures, because this Arsenal team is looking really impressive and solid sort of throughout the team. You haven't just got like Liverpool, who just look really impressive in attack and a little bit shaky at the back. The Arsenal team at the moment looks pretty solid all the way through the team, I think. So certainly a keep for me at the moment. And then Ola Aina is my last player. This defender, I really liked him last season. I had him for a long period. And going into this season, because of the price points of certain players, he probably was the least picked Nottingham Forest defender going into the season. And rightly so, I think. I think Nico Williams offered more attacking threat, and then DEFCON points also. And then certainly DEFCON points from the likes of Milenkovic and Murillo compared to Aina. But if you have him now, I think you just stick with him. He's a highly transferred out Nottingham Forest defender, certainly compared to the other three. But then, again, you look at their fixtures. They've got a nice fixture at home to West Ham this weekend. Arsenal away, like I said before, with Chris Wood. If you can ride that one out, bench him potentially. Then you've got Burnley and Sunderland on the other side of that. So it's not going to be a time to be taking Aina out. And they've only conceded one in each of their games. I feel like clean sheets are coming because there's such a solid defence, Forest. There's got to be... I'd be disappointed if they didn't get 2 clean sheets in those next 4 games. So Aina, one to stick with for me. So the players that we should look to sell then, and Gerard Bowen tops this list for me. That West Ham team is the most underperforming team now in the league. He's also dropped by 0.2 already, so those who have owned him from the start have taken a bit of a hit in price, which is unfortunate for you as well. I think it's just a case of jumping off him. He can return even when West Ham aren't at their best. He is the one player that can return for them, but West Ham as a whole just do not look at the races at all. There were signs of life against Wolves in the League Cup, but this is the League Cup and not the Premier League. I think Bowen just got an assist in that game. But, you know, the fact he also changed from a midfielder to a forward made him just that bit less of an option going into the season. And everybody was enticed in by that Sunderland fixture away and thinking a newly promoted side and Bowen should be able to get off the mark, especially the way he ended last season with goals galore. But it's just not worked for them. And now's the time to be jumping off West Ham, I think. More than likely, if I was guessing, Potter's the first manager to go this season. And there's a lot of pressure being heaped on West Ham now. The same goes for Fulkrug, especially with him not playing the second half against Chelsea. He's dropped down in price also. So exactly the same, even more so maybe for Fulkrug. Bowen, you know you've got the security of minutes, but West Ham attack, I just look to get rid of now. And then we've got Beto. Again, he's struggling for minutes, isn't he? He only played 20 odd minutes in the win at the new home stadium. And now going forward, even at 5.5 million, he doesn't represent value because he's such a minutes risk. The Everton fixtures are mixed at best going forward. You've got Wolves away, Aston Villa at home, but then you've got the Merseyside derby after that. And if you can't secure somebody like Beto's minutes, if you've got in any way, shape or form a little bit of budget sitting, in the bank, I would just look to upgrade him or find an alternative and another way. Is it with a couple of transfers to try and get rid of him? If not, he's probably going to be going on your bench this week because you just can't guarantee he's going to start against Wolves. Then the midfield, we've got Wirtz. Now, Florian Wirtz, I still don't think he's a completely bad asset. But Arsenal at home next. It's quite funny. This is the sort of game where, maybe you could get off the mark for Liverpool. It would make a big statement. You know, the Premier League's record signing, and then he could announce he's arrived with a commanding performance against Arsenal. I just don't see it coming from those first two performances, though. He looks a bit, I think I've said it before, flaky. He looks like he really needs to adjust to the Premier League. He looks a little bit weak, albeit he was up against a very robust and strong Newcastle midfield. I do feel he's just struggling a little bit with the physicality, and because of that, he's struggling to almost express himself going forward. So for these sort of reasons, and with with him going down in price, and he's now 8.4, but it's still a lot of money to have tied up in an asset that's not really returning. Don't get me wrong, straight after he's got Burnley away, he could return in any of these fixtures, but I don't completely love him as a sell. Don't get me wrong, but I completely understand him as a sell now. I think that money can be used better elsewhere if you have the transfers available and the rest of your team is pretty sound and you're pretty happy with it. You know, dropping him to somebody like a Semenyo will probably give you that bit of peace of mind. And maybe with those two performances as well, there's always that chance he gets dropped. I don't completely see it, but maybe against Arsenal they want to play Szoboszlai in that attacking midfield if they have the right back position covered by Bradley. Don't completely see it, but it's not out of the question. Then moving on to Bukayo Saka. Obviously the injury picked up is the main reason behind this one at the weekend. It has been announced he's going to be out for up to 4 weeks. So, yeah, I think you need to be jumping off him pretty soon. Even before he'll inevitably take a price decrease to 9.9. So if you can jump off before that, even better. Get that midfield sort of transfer locked in. And then maybe look to reassess when he's back towards the end of September. Are we looking at maybe into the beginning of October? But obviously because of that injury and the confirmed time he will be out, he's a go. Then the defence, Rayan Aït-Nouri was actually on one of my buy lists last week, along with Cucurella. Cucurella would have worked out lovely, but Aït-Nouri, unfortunately, we can't predict injuries in FPL. So we'll have to wait, I think, really. You can wait another day just to see the announcement, because they haven't confirmed any length of time he'll be out yet. And it can be hard to get that sort of information from the Manchester City camp. But it's 6.1 million. He's going to be one of your, or probably your most expensive defender. And do you want that money tied up in a player that could be potentially out for the next few weeks? No, probably not. Especially when you can just potentially move on to somebody like Cucurella now. Yeah, so it's going to be easy to jump off him. And also, one thing that has surprised me with him is the lack of attacking threat. He's got, over both games, he's got 0 expected goal involvements. He's done really well for DEFCON, actually, so he's probably not the fullback we completely expected. We expected a lot more attacking and maybe less DEFCON, but that hasn't been the case so far. But for now, I think he is a get rid of. And then finally, back to the West Ham topic and Wan-Bissaka. Obviously at 4.5, he's a guy that you can easily just sit on your bench. But I mean, if you have a spare transfer, and it's a transfer I probably won't make right now, but it's one I'd love to make, is switching Wan-Bissaka out to somebody like Van de Ven for 4.5 million. That West Ham defence just doesn't look like it's going to keep clean sheets anytime soon. You've got Forest next, who are probably going to score against them. They've got the attacking threat to do that. Tottenham are flying after that. And then Crystal Palace, who also have good attacking threat themselves. I just can't see where the clean sheets are coming from. And to be honest, he hasn't really put up the numbers you'd hope either in that attacking wing-back role. On top of that, DEFCON I thought was going to be a bit better for him. He is one of the highest rated fullbacks for DEFCON, but it's been really low, and it probably just sums up the struggles that West Ham have had. So not essential to transfer out because of the price, but if you have that money, or that spare transfer, should I say, available, somebody like Van de Ven, if you haven't got him, is a straightforward transfer there. So really hope you've got what you needed from that video. Please let me know in the comments who you're thinking of holding, selling, and most importantly, who you're thinking of bringing in this week. And if it did help you out, please hit the like button and really consider subscribing, as it really helps grow the channel. And that's my real goal, certainly over the upcoming season. I really want to get to some real milestones, and the bigger the milestones we get to, the more effort and time I can put into these videos and make them even better for you each week. So thank you for joining me. Next up will be the team selection video, hopefully Thursday. If not, it'll be Friday morning, but more than likely Thursday. Anyway, I'll see you next time.